I travelled by boat today, the sky at my feet. Oh, he loved his camera, yes. He was always in the lab filming. He'd be telling me about his lenses and whatnot. He seemed different when he was behind the camera. Quieter. More certain. We got on well, yes. Of course. Well, he was a lovely chap. He was certainly eccentric, though. A very intelligent man. He was unmarried. I worked with him for a good few years and we got on well. Well, I did his typing, wrote his letters, took his phone calls, that sort of thing. He was always very precise about how things were done. He said he was frustrated by the constraints of the lab, that he couldn't help feeling responsible for what happened there. And I remember that he said that everything that he observed in the lab was somehow influenced by him. He said that the violence that he induced there in the lab, he said it frightened him. He got quite angry about it all. One day, I remember I was typing up some of his notes and he was standing over me ranting. He was never usually like that. He was always so polite. He kept saying, and I remember this, he kept saying that it was his fault. The horror of the lab was his fault. I had to ask him to stop. I had to tell him that he was scaring me. Oh, he was so apologetic. He kept saying he was sorry and how he got carried away and that I wasn't to take any notice of him. I told him not to be silly and that it was fine. But it was very much out of character for him. He said he needed to get out of the lab, out to where he wasn't responsible for what happened. And he said that out there, he could be objective. After that, he spent a long time getting funding for a research trip. He told me that he wanted to be an observer, go out and record nature as it was. Well, I was very happy for him. He was so excited. And that was it. As soon as he got the money, he was away. I went into his office one morning and he had left without telling anyone. He left a note. Pat, this is it. I am away. I shall return once I have captured nature in its full glory and not before. Well, what happened was he would send back his little tapes along with notes saying what it was, the date, where he'd been and what have you. And I would type up the notes and pass them on to Gavin, who would record them onto VHS to the archive. I think that at first he really enjoyed himself out there. He kept saying how beautiful everything was, and actually I think he got a bit carried away. We used to receive 2 or 3 tapes a week. Gavin joked that he filmed anything and everything. He would often send me a letter with the tapes. Pat, the sun is so bright here, I think it is the first time I've ever really seen my shadow. Everything glows here, like it is lit up from the inside. I had never considered the power of names, the named colours, until these, leaves bristling emerald. I've come to see that I was trapped in that place. Out here I am able to move with nature, to walk alongside it and understand it as it is. There was a lot of footage. After a while it all slowed down. He stopped sending so many tapes. He sounded a bit fed up in his letters. Although it stopped Gavin complaining, which was nice for everyone else in the office. Dear Pat, I can't capture enough here. Everything operates on a different timeline. It is too fast or too slow. Nature shows me nothing. It taunts me. I am unable to record anything of interest. It is as though, when I turn the camera upon it, all the world holds its breath. It frustrates me. Sometimes it is hard to remember why I came out here in the first place. Pat, if we are animals, as we surely are, then everything we do must be within nature. I used to think that I must be objective, external to that which I observed. Now I think that I must involve myself in what I record, to give nature a gentle nudge, as it were. But if I impact upon what I observe, does that make what I observe unnatural or unreal? I hope for something different here. I must confess that I have been having some rather strange dreams. In them I do not speak my own words, rather nature speaks through me. I dream an image, and in the morning it appears before me on the camera. The letters at this point, they didn't make much sense, and they rarely related to what was on the tapes. I want to enter the image. I want to break down the wall between what I am filming and my filming of it. But if I were to truly record nature as it were, I would need a camera without tape that could film forever. I have spent hours getting back to the trail after losing grip of my initial path. He stopped sending regular tapes, and when he did, Gavin would complain that they contained many layers of footage, all distorted and unwatchable, as though the tapes had been used over and over again. Well, I mean, of course, I thought it was odd, but he was always a bit strange, and I never really watched the tapes unless Gavin showed me, so I wasn't to know. I wasn't to know. Colours bleed and sink. Birds aglow, their images remain stained on this landscape, long after they take flight. They cut his funding after a while. A long time, actually. But he stayed out there. I don't know what for. They couldn't get hold of him. He stopped sending a return address. He still sent tapes sometimes, and Gavin still converted them, but more out of habit than anything else. Well, technically he still worked for the university. I don't think they really knew what to do with him. The tapes still came, though less frequently. No letters either, which, if I'm honest, I was quite glad of. Yes, I was worried about him. Oh, I was. It seemed like he was out there all on his own. The tape stopped coming. We didn't get anything for about 6 months. And then he sent a letter to my home address. I do have it. I suppose, if it's important. Dear Pat, I know now what I must do. Objectivity is an ancient dream, a mirage trusted by fools and scientists. We must become a part of nature as we always were. I will not rot in a hole or turn to ash in the wind. I will enter these images. Please disperse my remaining possessions among the faculty. Please stress that these objects are not gifts, but people may do with them as they wish. To press record is to accept all that I miss. Everything my eye emits from this record I keep. I float without leaving the ground. The world spins without me asking. I cannot say how long I have been staring at the sun, but when I look away and close my eyes, I can still see its shape, full and white and strong. It occurs to me that the final point in the technological evolution of mankind would be the eradication of the sun, the breaking of the bond between light and energy. A human race that lived in darkness. Only then would we be above nature, as we seem to wish to be. Nature is light. Our image of it has a terrible symmetry, a reversal which few can truly accept. Thank you for your patience. The water is inked, the land rolls underfoot, and I feel its hum. This journey has its own gravity. I feel compelled, pulled forth by all of the immutable physical forces through my sight. These tapes I carry are doubled. They show me some things, but nothing of what I have seen. They are finite, but limitless in their failings. I feel as though I have been granted the gift of turning around. I travel forward, falling into this landscape. More and more my eyes slip in and out of focus. Everything I have filmed is worthless. That was it. We heard no more for a year, until his camera arrived at the university, battered and broken, but with the tape still inside. I don't know. I honestly don't know. There was no note, no letter. That was it. Just the camera and the tape. Gavin took the tape. I suppose he converted it, though heaven knows what for. Gavin asked me if I needed to tell anyone else, if he had any family. He didn't have any family. He didn't really have anyone, apart from me, I suppose. If you don't mind me asking, what's all this for?